Tonight on Wave News, new details in the shooting that rocked southern Indiana. We'll have what police know about the people responsible and the victims. One of them, an 18-year-old from Corridon who was killed in the shooting. We'll have how his community is remembering him and moving ahead.
This is a Wave breaking news alert.
You're watching Wave News at 6. I'm Noelle Friel. Tonight, communities across southern Indiana are in mourning after a shooting near the Harvest Homecoming Festival, a beloved fall tradition that brings thousands to the area every year. A Corridon teen was killed in the shooting. 2 others were hurt, and at least 2 suspects are still on the loose. A winter storm that could be the most significant our area has seen in more than a decade, just hours away. Our storm tracking team is standing by with what you need to know to stay safe. But first, breaking news out of Louisville, as the man police say shot an Orange County deputy before going on the run is shot and killed by LMPD. Our first details.
This is a Wave breaking news alert.
This is Wave News at 11. I'm Noelle Friel. After nearly 48 hours on the run, the search for Austin Scheppers has come to an end. Our first details from LMPD coming in just minutes ago. We're told Scheppers, the suspect in the shooting of Sheriff Zach Andre, was killed during a confrontation with police in Louisville. But many questions still remain in how Scheppers' encounter with police ended in gunfire. Our Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote just listened to the briefing from LMPD Chief Humphrey. Kirsten, what have we learned so far? 5 people have been shot and a manhunt is underway after a shooting on a highway in southeastern Kentucky. This is the man that the Laurel County Sheriff's Office is trying to find, 32-year-old Joseph Couch. He should be considered armed and dangerous, so if you see him, do not approach him. Instead, you should call 911. The shooting started around 6:30 this evening in the area of I-75 and U.S. Route 25, northwest of London. We're told 5 people were shot. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office says some of them had severe injuries, but so far, no one has died. 2 dead and 5 more injured with no suspect in custody. That's the latest from police as those in downtown Louisville continue to recover from a mass shooting that broke out in the early hours of the morning. This is Wave News at 11. I'm Noelle Friel. 20 hours have passed since shots rang out this morning, and community members are already coming together to support the families of those who lost their lives, as well as the other victims still in recovery. The shooting happened around 3 this morning at Southern Restaurant and Lounge on West Market Street. We're told it was the restaurant's last night open before temporarily closing, ultimately drawing in a crowd of hundreds before someone started shooting. Cheers from the crowd turned to screams after someone started shooting at a high school football game between Mail and PRP, first delayed by the weather, now interrupted by violence. You're watching Wave News. I'm Noelle Friel. The game was almost over when the shooting began, sending fans and players alike running for cover. Now we've learned 2 people were hurt. One of the victims is in critical condition. This incident happened just after 12:30 a.m. in the Iroquois neighborhood. This video was shot at Kenwood Drive and New Cut Road on the east entrance to Iroquois Park and right next to the Colonial Gardens complex. You can see cars blocking off the intersection while 2 others spin around in the middle with people watching and recording from just feet away. Eventually, when police arrive, the cars start to take off, but not before people from the crowd start jumping on top of one of the cruisers. There it is right there. The squad car starts to reverse as the people jump off. You'll have more shoveling to do tomorrow morning after another winter weather alert day dumped several inches of snow across our area. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harned has more on the snow totals. If you're leaving the Yum Center, hopefully you brought something warm because it's another bitter cold night for Wave Country. And Carson, it looks like we'll finally get some relief from those low temperatures tomorrow. Turning to weather now, it was beautiful today. So nice to see the warm weather up into the 60s. And take a look at this beautiful sunset that's behind you.
It will feel like a virtual heat wave compared to where we've been, especially over the last couple of days this week, which have been very cold.
Right. A heat wave is definitely right. And you know, when we get heat in the summer, I'm going to have to remember this so that I don't complain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll be getting in the 90s. We'll be like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. No, just remember this.
Exactly. Look back on this moment and be grateful. All right. Thank you, Kevin. You know what else is not cool? It's warm. Our weather this weekend. Thank goodness.
Warm is a relative term, I guess. So we'll call it mild because 46 degrees and warm typically aren't the same sentence. Noelle will keep those temperatures on the mild side as well, with highs in the 50s as we get closer to Groundhog Day. One week from today.
Yes, looking forward to that. And let's hope on Groundhog Day we don't get more winter. I think we're all ready to be done.
I looked it up. Last 10 years, it's been kind of even between early spring and more winter. So we will see.
All right, so could go either way. It's 50-50. All right, well, we will pay attention. Thank you, Carson.
Sure.
The Super Bowl is set. Sports anchor Dusty Baker tells you who will be playing in the 59th edition of the title game in New Orleans next in sports. A Middletown family now has closure after their son was killed in a DUI crash 1 year ago. In June of last year, 24-year-old Javen Russian was killed in a crash that injured 5 others in the Irish Hill neighborhood. The driver would take a plea deal, and last month he was sentenced to 15 years. After the anniversary of his death, we sat down with Javen's parents to talk about the sentence and how they're keeping Javen's memory alive.
He had his stats and stuff, so for rebounds, he did 5.2, total points 13.1, free throw 2.6, 1.6. I mean, he was a really good kid in basketball.
From the time he was 4 years old, basketball was Javen Russian's passion. He played on the team at Eastern High School, even making headlines. Off the court, he was always popular and always willing to help anyone in need. His parents, Estefani and Jason Russian, say he never knew a stranger.
Javen was a jokester. He always liked to play jokes on people, or he's very funny. He was the type of kid that he comes into a room, people would just gravitate to him, and there was always said that he was the life of the party.
Now, looking back on these memories helps his parents feel close to him. Their world turned upside down on June 4th, 2023, when they got a middle-of-the-night phone call from their oldest son, Jason Jr.
When I heard my son crying, I knew somebody was dead, and I knew it was somebody close.
Javen had been in a DUI crash. The driver, 25-year-old Daniel Bell, was going 100 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone on Lexington Road when he struck a guardrail and then a tree. His blood alcohol content was 0.17, double the legal limit. By the time his brother got to the scene, Javen was already gone.
Jason actually saved a couple people's lives too in that car. There were 6 people, they pulled a couple people out and rescued them to get to his brother, but it was already too late. It was like the scene of a scary movie, like blood. And I was just like, man, you don't want to see your son like this. I said, man, I got to.
Bell was charged with murder, but posted bond and was put on house arrest. Both Bell and Javen were 24 at the time of the crash, but only one got to go on with life.
On his 25th birthday, one of Javen's friends sent me a picture of what his dad, and here he is smiling, and his dad's giving him money, and he just smiling, and they both throw up the middle finger. As for us, Javen's 25th birthday was at his gravesite.
Earlier this year, Bell pled guilty to manslaughter, assault, and several wanton endangerment counts. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Javen's parents believe it's not enough.
I look at this way, you endangered so many people in that car. One of the girls, she had like 30 broken bones. That was one of Javen's good friends. They both went to Eastern.
It's even at 3 in the morning when you take a drink and start that car, cut it back out.
One way they feel close to him is through basketball. Jason has been a longtime fixture of the Dirt Bowl basketball tournament, coaching the Jewel Park basketball team. Javen had played in the tournament before and was set to play again last year before his death. Now his team is competing in his honor once again. Jason says Javen's teammates feel his presence on the court.
The team is most of his friends.
Yeah.
His friends. So I kind of like kept it going, and we're really getting good. We're going to be hard to beat this summer.